Algebra 1 review for lesson 101. So the first thing we're going to do here when solving for a variable is we're going to distribute our parentheses. So when we multiply negative 3 by x, we get negative 3x. If we multiply the negative 3 by 2, we get negative 6. And then 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. Now, the next step is we want to add like terms. So on the left-hand side, there's nothing that's in common, but on the right-hand side, the negative 4 and the 2 are in common. So we're going to add those like terms together, giving us 2x minus 2. Now, I personally prefer to bring the x's to the left-hand side and the numbers to the right-hand side. It just makes it look better to me. But ultimately, the goal is we have to get the x's with the x's and the numbers with the numbers. So to do that, like I said, I like to move the numbers to the right side. So I'm going to do, we always do the opposite, the inverse operation. So the inverse operation of negative 6 is adding 6. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides, giving us negative 3x. Those cancel out, equals 2x, and then plus 4. All right, now we need to move the 2x to the other side. So we would subtract 2x from both sides. Again, the opposite of a plus is a minus. And giving us negative 5x equals 4. Now, remember when we're solving for a variable, we always do the inverse operations. So the inverse of negative 5 times x, this is being multiplied, so the inverse of multiplication is division. So we're left with x equals negative 4 over 5. Let's try another one. All right, again, we're trying to balance. Think of it as a scale. So what we do to one side, we must also do to the other. And again, we want our variable on the left side and the numbers on the right. So to do that, we need to move to the 2 to the other side. The inverse operation of 2 is negative 2. So we're left with 3x equals 7. And again, we're going to divide by 3 because the opposite of multiplying, or the inverse of multiplying, is division. So x equals 7/3. Or you could rewrite this as 2 1/3. Either answer is correct. All right, this one looks a little bit different. Instead of it being 3 times x, we're doing x divided by 3. So the opposite of dividing by something is multiplication. So we're going to multiply both sides by 3, giving us x equals 12. Now remember, we can always go back and check these. So 12 over 3 equals 4, which is 4 equals 4, which means it works. Checking your work is always a good answer, or an option. All right, now for the last example for lesson 101, this one's a little bit different because we're not going to get a numerical answer, but that's okay. We are still solving for a variable, and we're going to use the same principle. The principle is we're isolating. Isolate is a key word, meaning we want it to get it alone. Okay, so we want to isolate h. So we have to get everything else to the other side. Well, notice it's all being multiplied. Okay, so this is a tricky one, the 1/2. So I could divide by 1/2, or I could phrase it as multiplying by 2, right? The opposite, the inverse, is 2 if we flip this around. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Giving us, this cancels, we're left with just a 1, which we can leave out if we're multiplying. All right, and now to solve for h, the only thing left I have is b, and that's being multiplied, so I can divide. So h is equal to 2a over b. And that is our final solution. I hope you found this short little review of Algebra 1, Lesson 101 helpful. If you need any more help, please contact your instructor.